There's real excitement around p-tau 217 right now, and I am too. Biomarkers and blood-based tests like this are a breakthrough for Alzheimer's research because now we can detect risk of Alzheimer's 10 years before disease symptoms hit. But here's my concern. p-tau 217 is a single biomarker. Alzheimer's disease is not just one disease, it's many. In other words, Alzheimer's disease has subtypes, and those subtypes might need specific treatment options. Relying on one biomarker means we can risk missing these subtypes and overlook treatment options for patients. This was, in fact, highlighted in recent AAIC 2026 conference, where scientists agree that p-tau 217 alone cannot fully predict an individual's future risk. This is an important conversation because age, genetics, environment, gender, gut microbiome, kidney function, obesity, and underlying conditions all can be risk factors for Alzheimer's and can change how a person could develop Alzheimer's. One biomarker alone will not identify the root causes of Alzheimer's, which are required for proper treatment. We can get a full picture about Alzheimer's disease risk with a full biomarker panel, which should be available in labs across the USA and in some labs across Europe. p-tau 217, GFAP, NFL, p-tau 181, and amyloid panel run together, and they can give a broader understanding of the risk. p-tau 217 is the signal that shows the buildup of tau tangles, which is the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. GFAP is a neuroinflammation marker. NFL is a marker that signals when brain cells are being damaged. Amyloid signals plaque development in the brain, which is another hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. p-tau 181 is an earlier tau marker, not as precise as p-tau 217, but can be valuable for diagnosis when in a full biomarker panel. Talk to your doctor about the availability of these biomarkers. Amyloid and p-tau 217 is FDA approved, and the test for it is called Lumipulse, and your insurance might, not guaranteed, cover the cost. But it's worth talking to your medical provider about the actual cost to you. Let's look at an example with made-up scenarios. Patient A and patient B. Patient A tests using a biomarker panel, and his or her result is high p-tau 217. This shows that the patient is at risk for Alzheimer's. High GFAP. This shows that person has neuroinflammation, which can be the main driver of the disease. Low NFL. This shows that the brain damage marker is low. Now let's get to patient B. Patient B tests using a biomarker panel, and his or her result is high p-tau 217, which shows that the patient is at risk for Alzheimer's. Low GFAP. This shows that the person has low neuroinflammation, which is different from patient A, and the patient has high NFL. This shows that the brain damage marker is high and possibly could be the main driver of the disease, which is different from patient A. When you look at it broadly, and if you only used p-tau 217, you can see that they both tested for p-tau 217. But the underlying root causes that could be driving their diseases could be different. For patient A, it was neuroinflammation marked by high GFAP. For patient B, there is something damaging the brain, which was marked by high NFL, but patient B does not have high neuroinflammation. These root causes could decide which treatment package is required for each patient. There was another interesting study that I talked about recently, and it focuses on something called circular RNA. In this study, Scientists studied circular RNA as a biomarker for Alzheimer's risk prediction. They found that circular RNA alone has an accuracy score of 0.945. And this outperformed p-tau 217 alone because the accuracy score for that was 0.877. When the researchers combined circular RNA with p-tau 217, the accuracy improved over just one biomarker alone. The accuracy score was 0.977. And this accuracy of 0.977 was almost as close to the traditional CSF PET scan imaging used for Alzheimer's disease risk prediction, but without the invasive side effects attached to CSF and PET scanning. This is the reason why I have been advocating for multiple biomarkers for a more accurate and better diagnosis of Alzheimer's risk. Plus, it can also help us to understand root causes and what is driving this disease. Alzheimer's is not one disease. It is not one size fits all. There will be many root causes that drives this disease, as we discussed earlier. So, don't treat it like one disease.